afternoon, everyone. My name is Satya Dhaliwal. I'm the marketing manager here at Perfect Portal. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us for our webinar today on capturing leads from your website. And this is all tailored towards, Perfect Portal and the features that we have to help you capture these leads. We know it's been quite busy. The market has been picked up. So thank you so much again for taking the time. And this shouldn't take us any longer than 30 minutes. Please, if you do have any questions, there's a Q&A tab at the bottom. If you can ask your questions there, that would be great, and I will answer them at the end of the webinar. So please make sure you, put your questions out there as I'm showing the system, and then I will answer them towards the end. Okay, so let's get started here. So the agenda today, first I'm going to show you the new lead intake forms. We know only some of you have taken that on, so I just wanted to show you and give you some visualization of what that can look like on your website. The flexibility and how the forms can be displayed on your website. Again, we only provide a simple line of code, but that can be displayed in multiple ways. Then I will show you just in the settings section, I'm sure you're aware of it, but where it is located, where you can create multiple websites or the website calculators or the lead intake forms. Then after, I will show you some examples of our law firm, some of our clients, and what they're doing to capture more leads. And again, as you know your own website, you might want to change things around to see what's working and what's not. Towards the end, I will share some tips to how to optimize your website for lead generation. And then at the end, I will go over some of the features that we have released recently and then what's coming soon. So now the lead intake form. Perfect. Can everyone see the Balmoral Legal webpage all right? Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Joanna. So this is our demo website. I will share this link with you afterwards. I just need to make it public. Right now it's private. So what this is just to give you an idea of how you can actually display the calculators on your website and the new lead intake forms, which can be used for any area of law. So at the very beginning, again, this is Perfect Portal website. This is Balmoral Legal, our demo account. So right here, we have this login bar. What that is, that's the feature that we released, I think, last month. What that is, you go into your settings, you will see this under the company settings. There's a login bar, and you have a code for the horizontal as well as vertical. Once you get the code, you can put it anywhere on your website, and you can put it multiple times. So let's say you can put it on your homepage bar, under Contact Us, and that can be used by your staff, by your clients, by your referring agents to log into their dedicated portal. So that can be customer portal versus your Perfect Portal for your law firms. It just makes it easier for everyone to sign in, so they don't lose the links and that sort of thing. And second here, it just shows here we have Get Conveyancing Quote. And this is all laid out on one web page, but of course you can have this on different parts of your website. So once I click on Get Conveyancing Quote, this will automatically link me to an area where I have my conveyancing quote calculators embedded. So if I click on this, this will take me to my residential area where I have all of my conveyancing quote calculators. So you can, how we have the floating one on the side, similar way you can have the accordion, and you can have all areas of law here, where there's wills, probate, personal injury, commercial law, whatever you service. Or you can have an icon, bit of blurb about that meta type, and then put a button under there, get quote, get instant estimate, whatever the language that you feel comfortable using. And as soon as you click on it, it generates that dedicated matter quote screen. So as you can see, this is for purchase estimate. I'm going to close this. We also have sale. And in sale, what I have added is voucher code. So if you are running promotions at the moment, or when things quiet down, you might want to run promotions in your local areas, make sure you add the field for voucher codes. And this is very important. How did you hear about us? Because it's very important to measure how are people actually coming to your website. Where did they, was it from a friend or just Googled, law firm in my area sort of thing. Make sure you customize the lead sources and add them to your lead intake forms as well as calculators. All right. And of course, if you're using the calculators to be compliant with CLC or SRA, then you have those bits there as well. So that's one way of doing it. And I'm going to go right back at the top. So that's the button that leads to a different area on your website. And this was the other option that you can have, which is showcasing multiple areas of law on one button that kind of scrolls down as you go through the website. We also have here, so where I showed icons and floating intake forms, earlier it was just the quote calculators. Now I'll show you the intake forms. So for example, commercial property law, you can't necessarily, when you can't necessarily quote a certain price or calculate it using the calculator, the lead intake forms are a great way to add to your website. So I can go here, inquire now. They can fill in their details. How did you hear about us? As soon as they request a call, you will get an alert similar to other website alerts. And that way you can follow up, and it's in your Perfect Portal dashboard where you can track the successes. How many leads are you getting from your website on commercial property? How many on wills and probate? And how many of them are actually converting into business? So you get the MI not just for residential conveyancing, but other areas of law. And of course, if you have, let's say, service related or dedicated pages, then you will probably put these on those pages. You can have it on the side, you can have them within the body of the email or with the body of the page, or you can have it at the bottom. And same thing with immigration law. We know we have few firms using it for immigration at the moment, and you can add a second client and so on. And just to give you a couple more examples, it's the same form, but again, it's a dedicated matter type. So you can see it's family inquiry. You can see that it's for wills and probate, that sort of thing, or intellectual property. And these can be embedded or used as a floating intake form. So this is another option where you can have an image on the side and then have a button that generates that floating intake form. So as you can see, and it doesn't affect the user experience. We can, some of the client websites that I see, they have get a quote instantly, but when a user clicks on it, it goes to a different page where you have the form. You can easily do it that it floats right then and there. Imagine if they're on a phone, they can see it immediately and it doesn't leave them from their user journey. Okay, here's another example of an embedded form. So just say that you have a bit of information about wills, you have a nice image that's more consumer friendly, and generate the lead intake form right then and there. It's quite simple, it's short, so it can be embedded anywhere on the website. We do ask or request the firms to use imagery, videos, or anything like that, or even client testimonials right beside those quotes or the lead intake form, sorry. And that way it can, if the person lands on that page, it prompts them to actually fill that their information, because sometimes they do see the form, but they don't fill it because they don't know if they should give you their details. So make sure you have the testimonials right beside or underneath and that so on. So here's another one. It's again, just for conveyancing quote calculator, you can have one just dedicated to one area of law, a floating button. So if you click on it, then it generates the form. And this is a great way to put it at the bottom of your pages. So let's say at the bottom of your conveyancing page, make sure if they miss, if they missed your buttons at the top of the page or middle of the page, then you have another opportunity to capture them towards the end. Here's another one. It's a quote calculator, not the lead intake form. So here we have an image and the calculator embedded, and this is just for purchase, because we do see that a lot of law firms have dedicated pages for different transaction types, where you might say, you know, have different guides for purchasing or selling a property, that sort of thing, and then you can add this form right then and there. As you can see that here. And this was the other area that I showed you, where you can have a dedicated meta type within conveyancing and have the quote calculators that kind of pop up. So they don't go to a different page. And like I've shown you here, I never really left this page. Everything is right there, and it's very easy for the consumer journey. Transfer of equity. And this is the other way. If you want to embed the form page wide, which you can do so, and you can always change the colors, you know, of the topics, the boxes when you're highlighting, and you know, the text here. That's all within the settings of your web calcs and the lead intake forms. And again, when you're embedding these, make sure it's just not the form on the page. There's some information about it, why they should be, you know, reaching out to you, why they should be instructing you, that and so on. And also your you know, your lead sources, because you want to make sure you can measure, and I'm sure your marketing department would love that, to see, you know, where are they getting more leads from. And of course, if you have your own website, your branded app, do add that to the pages where you have the intake forms, because they can actually download the app even if they send you a lead, and self-register and play around with it, which can actually prompt them to instruct you, because they can see that you're very tech savvy and dealing with you would be easy and, you know, convenient. The one thing that I'm seeing is law firms adding information about their branded apps to their website, but not necessarily including the links to the Play Store or Google or Apple App Store. So please make sure you include the links. And the video, of course, testimonials. If you have testimonials about your app or about you just doing conveyancing or other area of law, make sure you add those to the pages, because that will actually help you get more leads, because that will get more clients to fill those forms for you. If you have any questions around this area, please feel free to add, and I will answer them towards the end. Perfect. So now, going into the Perfect Portal settings area. So if you're an admin user, you should see the web calc area in here, and we will be changing this to lead intake forms, because, you know, web calculator is also a type of intake, lead intake from your website. So once you click on it, a lot of the firms have one or two calculators. You can have as many as you like, and we always recommend it. You know, here, these are some of the ones that I have in there, some dedicated ones. So if I have a page on employment law, I want my dedicated calculator on employment law or on personal injury or that sort of thing. Very easy and simple. I'm just going to go into one here. Let's say commercial property, the name, the website, where it's hosted. These are different options. So if I'm offering any discount codes, I can click that here. And then if there's a you need to create the voucher or any dedicated ones that you want to do, you can click here and edit those settings. I'm going to take that off for now. And of course, you can edit your messaging, so you don't necessarily need to use a templated one. And lead sources, you might want to only include certain ones for certain areas of law, so you can easily select and deselect these here. Introduction, I don't have any introduction added to my web calcs, but you can always do that. You can say, you know, we're currently not taking any leaseholds, which I have seen some of our firms do. So when they get busy, they'll say, you know, on average, we complete our transaction in X to X days, or we're currently not taking any leasehold because we're busy, or that sort of thing. You can always put that in here. You can add an image if you like, so you can make it your own. Of course, the fee scales that are associated with it, anything if you want in the footer. The ones that I showed in the demo accounts, they're quite simple. I try not to include too much. And of course, styling the colors of your buttons and text and all of that, and what you want to call it, instant estimate, or if there's floating, quick quote, inquire now, that sort of thing. The other thing I wanted to mention here, because I'm sure you want your marketing department to have access to this, the settings area, so they can brand and color code for you. If you don't have your marketing added to the Perfect Portal user base, please let us know, and we will add them at no additional cost. They just won't be able to generate any quotes or anything, but they can edit the branding and other settings of the system. Okay, so that's just how to add a new quote calculator or web intake form. Now I want to show you what our law firms are doing and showcasing their calculators on, as well as other options on their website that features a Perfect Portal. So this is one of our clients in the UK, LCF Residential. We had their permission to share their site. So as you can see, it's very simple page. They can have get instant quote here, the button, there's a floating button, and when they click on get instant quote, let's say they're on home page or what we do, it comes to this page. It's very simple, easy for the client to follow, and they can click on what they need. And again, they have their, buying guide, selling guide, because it kind of shows the client that they're there to help them. They have other resources than just doing the transaction. Now I will show you some Australian examples, because it's very hard to share other UK firms, because of course you guys are in competition with each other. So this one here, you can see there's call to action. It's a very small firm, but they do have it few different places, throughout their website. So you can see it's here, links to their app, contact us as well, which has some links in there, testimonials, inquiry form, and that sort of thing. Here's another one where they have a dedicated landing page where they also have some call to action. So they'll promote one thing, but then they make sure they capture information there, because you want to, one is get visitors to your website, but then second step is converting those visitors into leads, and then after those leads into customers. So here's another example, for their referrers, for their clients, what they provide with their app. And same thing with this On Point Conveyancing. They have login button bar that easily lets them log in their staff, their clients, their referrers into their portal. Instant quote, a bit more information, why a client should choose that law firm, links and information about, what service that they provide. And again, just mention it, having that call to action on their website a few times, not just once. And one more example is here, is title space. And actually, if I refresh it, they have another bit that I like, which is, it might not come now. Yeah, there we go. It's download our free conveyancing guide. So that's not necessarily, yeah, they want to give the conveyancing guide to other users, but that's another way for them to capture leads, because again, they want to get that visitor immediately, and then they have call to action, their reviews, login at the very top. That's easy to access, why they should choose them, and getting a free quote, client testimonials, and that sort of thing. So you want to make sure it's not just once that you put your lead intake forms or the call to action buttons, it's multiple times on a website. The other ways is to actually do news articles and blogs. This was one of our other clients in Australia. They did an article about how their app actually relieves the buyer stress, and how, in today's digital market, they're forward thinking and they're the best one in their area. And then that links to their website, captures their information, and then turns those leads into clients. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in here. So now I want to share some tips that you can optimize, how you can optimize your website to make sure that you can capture more and more leads. So one is the lead intake forms and the calculators. Make sure that those pages actually get traffic. If you haven't measured your traffic, there's Google Analytics that's free, and you can see how many unique visitors you're getting per page, and make sure you have some sort of a lead intake form on those pages. Even if it's not for, let's say, conveyancing, it's about us, you can still put at the bottom, contact us now, so we can help you with your needs, that sort of thing. So make sure whatever the pages that's getting most traffic, you have the lead intake form on those pages. The second is measure the performance of each lead form. A lot of the times what we do is, we get technology, but then we do just the basics of what we need to do to put it on our website or to get the usage, but we never really measure the performance. If you're not getting, let's say you have 3 different types of lead forms on your website, if you're not getting any leads from one of those forms, make sure that you actually rework it and put it somewhere that will be visible to your clients, so you can get more people filling those forms. And maybe it's the information that you have on that page that clients don't really feel that they have clear information why they should be contacting you, why they should be giving you their information. So always, if you don't have any testimonials on that page, maybe add a testimonial on that page. The other thing is add the call to action buttons in multiple locations. I do see sometimes firms have get a quote, free quote, but it's not in nice colors, or it's in colors that doesn't really stand out. Of course, they're not going to get that many leads versus someone who actually has the call to action buttons more visible. And of course, you can have as many types of call to action buttons as you want that can open up the lead intake form, that can open the calculators. So call to action buttons is something that should speak to your clients. It doesn't have to be instruct us now, get a quote now. It can be something along the lines of, get in touch now for a 30 minutes free consultation, get your free conveyancing quotes in 10 seconds or less. Because again, it gives them a benefit of why they should be giving you information. And of course, consumers shop around, especially now, because more and more of us are still working from home. So make sure you make those call to actions a bit more personalized, but still keep it simple, and use contrasting colors from your website. Links, links, links. Why do I have it so many times? Because I still see, law firms posting on social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, but they don't include links in there. They'll say, contact us or generate a free quote for your needs, but there's no link. Or they'll include a link, but it'll be just to the home page, not necessarily a dedicated landing page. Because again, if you don't include a link, nobody's going to go anywhere. They might like your post, but that's about it. You're not going to get any ROI from those posts. So please link. If you're doing a blog, if you're doing a news article or social media post, you can always say, we believe in transparency. Our customers can get a free quote, transparent quote within seconds from our website. Link it to your landing page. Or when you have, download our app to keep track of your transaction, make sure you have a link for the Google Play Store as well as the Apple App Store, so they can actually click on the link and download. We are quite lazy. We'd like people giving us, as much information as we can, because we're not going to necessarily go there and type and try to find that information. So, feed that information to your clients. If you're doing videos, make sure in the description of your videos you include links. It's very important. Now, my next one is landing pages. Have dedicated landing pages where you can drive the traffic to from your social media, from your email campaigns. Email signatures are so important as well. I do see whenever we send out any email campaigns from us, from Perfect Portal, we get a lot of bounce backs immediately, because people are out of office, or you have automated responses turned on. use your automated responses. Don't just say that you're gonna, that their email gets put into the queue and it's first come first serve basis sort of thing. Add links to your website, add links to your, USP, why you're the best in the area, and make sure it goes to the dedicated landing page, not just the home page where the customer actually has to spend a minute, because 30 seconds on a website is a long time, and even a minute. So you want to make sure you feed that to them and they get to the right information quickly. And of course, you know, um, have visible call to actions on your landing pages. Don't just have it everywhere splashed. You want to make sure, depending on the length of your content on the page, you have appropriate number of buttons and links. So I always recommend around 3 to 5. So you have a link of some sort or a call to action button at every fold. So you always look at your website in a laptop, let's just say, and you want to make sure every scroll you're able to see some sort of call to action that captures their information. And nurture your leads. This sometimes, make sure Yvonne doesn't know, still bugs me a bit where clients get so many leads, but that they still aren't following up. You have the leads, you have all that data into Perfect Portal, but you're still not following up in timely manner. We have recently released automatic email chase. So if you don't have that turned on, please do so, because you can have it that you can follow up on your lead immediately, within 24 hours or 48 hours, that sort of thing. So if your team is busy because it's, busy month and they can't necessarily follow up manually, that you at least have the some sort of following up on your behalf. And again, getting the lead is just the first step. If you don't follow up within 24 to 48 hours maximum, that lead will turn cold and you will lose that opportunity to making it into a client. Perfect. So if you have any more questions about the SMS or email follow-ups, please contact us and we will get that looked out for you. So now I just want to go over some of the latest released features. So we had added the ability to access the app at lead level. So what it is, it's, when somebody generates a lead or a quote on your website, they actually, after they email the quote or they instruct through your quote email, they can actually download the app right then and there before they instruct you. And then you're able to communicate with them through the chat feature to help them make the decision to choose your law firm. So make sure if you have the app and you haven't used it at the lead level, contact your client success manager so we can show you that. And also, the users, they can actually, let's say they find a link on your social media to your app, they can download it, they can register with their first name, last name, and if select the area of law that they're interested in, and that will also generate you a lead. Okay, so that's the feature where you can access the app at lead level. We have dashboard and stats that can be customizable for area of law. So before it was very much conveyancing. Now on the top right of your dashboard, you can actually have the drop down to other area of laws that you have activated within Perfect Portal. If you're only using for conveyancing at the moment and you think other departments can also benefit, please introduce those department heads to us and we will get them introduced to how they can use Perfect Portal as well. And critical case timeline, that's another big dashboard tile that was requested by quite a few firms. What it is, it's one big dashboard tile that gives you full clear visibility of where every matter is, on what stage, you're still waiting for documents, initial documents to be signed and returned to you, or, how many are left for completion and they're at the final stage. So just, again, it gives you a bit more visibility on your workload, and it's quite important, especially when you have so much going on. Login bar plugin for your website. Again, very easy and simple. It's one line of code that you can give to your developer, and again, it's through the settings side. and they can add it, and then you can have your staff, your clients, as well as your referrers logging to your to their particular portal through your website. And that's only available for the branded app clients. Automatic email follow-ups, please, please, please have that turned on. And of course, if you end up reaching out to that client before that scheduled email, then the email will not go in. So there's no harm in having that switched on and have it timed anyway, because that way, the worst thing can happen is, you didn't get time to follow up and that email went out automatically. Then Google Ads integration. Speak to your marketing department if they're not on this webinar. If you are using Google Ads, then please use the integration, because then you can see which web calcs are getting used because of your ads. And if they're not being used, then you can position your ads differently. So now some of the features that we have coming soon. So we will have new lead intake form template. So what that is, as you saw some of the icons on our website, you saw the accordion. So that can be easily done at any time, but we will actually provide you some templates to choose from. So that's coming soon. Then we have eCOS integration with the branded apps. So what that is, that will allow you and to provide a consistent, seamless journey to your end client, to your consumer. So they can have, through Perfect Portal, they can see the key stages, they can see, track their case through the app, they can have the chat and documents, but you can also do eCOS, which is electronic onboarding with TA forms, electronic signatures, verification of ID directly from the app. So the end consumer actually only deals with your firm, your brand, and doesn't necessarily get, requests to see all these different types of platforms. The other thing we have is DPS integration. We do have it live with one other firm currently. So if you are using DPS for your case management system, please do let us know, and then we can have you schedule that in your integration. And review solicitors integration. We do know that some of our clients are using review solicitors. So we will be doing an integration with them where you can actually have your quote calculators on their website and track those leads within your dashboard to see how many leads are coming through review solicitors. And of course, there'll be a bit more. We're just specking out that integration at the moment. Before I go into the Q&A, please follow us at Perfect Portal UK tag for Twitter and LinkedIn. We usually, if something gets released, we try to post it out there first, as we try to develop more content for the webinar as well as EDM. So make sure you're following us to stay updated with everything. Now, thank you for taking the time and listening to my webinar. I went a little bit over half an hour. So I will answer the questions, but please feel free to email help desk or me personally if you have any questions, and we would be more than happy to help you out and make sure that you're taking full advantage of our technology. All right. Thank you very much. So now I'm just there's a few questions in there. Is it possible to create automated responses for leads generated? There are, as soon as there's an email lead that's generated, let's say from the client intake form, the client will get a thank you message and just say thank you, and you can tailor that message, what that looks like. As for the emails, the clients only get the automated emails if there's a quote generated. So then they get a copy of that quote, and of course, that's all automated, but then you can tailor the copy of that, that email. Your reference to web calc is a little confusing. Is this our only lead forms, not actually calculators? So the web calc area is where the lead forms are created, just to be sure I'm under. Yes, so that the web calc area is where you will actually create the lead intake forms. We're just changing the name of that area currently. So next week, you'll actually see that area being called lead intake forms, I believe. And there you'll create those web calculators for conveyancing and lead intake forms for other matter types. All right, so that is just in the settings where it says web calc at the moment, that will say lead intake forms. No silly questions. When these leads are actually created on website, they are in Perfect Portal leads area. Are leads different to inquiries? So leads are for anything. So when a lead is generated, let's say for immigration or commercial law, it will go into your leads area, and that is a type of inquiry. So I know in our system we call inquiries for other areas of law and lead and quote for conveyancing. We are looking into that so it's less confusing and changing that language around. So the leads will be in the leads area. All right. Please could you tell me how long it will take until electronic onboarding will be live? So we actually have a client beta testing it today, and of course it can take, I know it's taking longer than expected, but it can, we're hoping within the next couple of weeks. We do have a webinar scheduled on October 8th, so I'm hoping that it goes live before that webinar. So we're just testing it, because there's ID verifications, there's different documentation that's getting signed in TA forms. So there's a bit more involved. So we're just doing a lot more testing before that gets up and on there. Okay, can you, yeah, that's done. Used to supply downloads to useful. Can the lead intake forms be used to supply downloads of useful content? Actually, it cannot, but that is definitely a good suggestion, which I will get my marketing assistant, she's on here. If you can take a note of that, Jean. So we are working on how can we improve our lead intake forms. So that is something I can definitely add in there, okay? How do I get training on setting all this up? Please send us an email at helpdesk@perfectportal.co.uk, and that way, and describe what you would like to be set up in there, and we can support you on that. And the other thing I wanted to mention, a website can be a little bit tricky, and of course you have your website developers. We do have a developer on hand who can work with your marketing team as well as your developer to get these things placed on your website. So rather than us going back and forth quite a bit and not understanding, the different type of code that you're using, we'll have a developer from our end who can work with your website developer to get everything looking very nice on your website. When a callback or inquiry form is submitted, the email comes through to say you have a lead. Does the email give any details about the lead, or does it say you have a lead and you have to actually log in to see details? No, it will say, I will respond to Kristen, I believe, and if I'm wrong, I will get back to you and email you. I believe it does say what that lead, where that lead is from and what that lead is for. So it will say area of law. So the best thing to do for your lead notification is to put a group email. So that way you can forward those emails, or to certain department if you want to track it that way. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but it does give you the lead of, is it for commercial law or is it for wills or probate or that sort of thing, okay, within the email body. Any other questions? No? Okay. Well, just before I log off, our next webinar will be on October 1st, so please stay tuned, and that will be on LinkedIn. So it's nothing to do with Perfect Portal. It's all about tips on LinkedIn, and we'll have someone from Conscious Solutions, the marketing agency, actually come and present. So if you or your staff members are on LinkedIn, please stay tuned for that email to go out to register for that webinar. So it's a short webinar. It was just tips on how you can take advantage of LinkedIn. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.